morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Transparency. This is an Idaho 4 all new early morning 1112 camera hours. So we're going to be doing a lot here on this live stream. You guys are going to be part of it. So good morning. You're going to have an opinion at some point of this video, whether you're watching on live with us right now or on replay. So what you got to do is you got to have an opinion, whatever it is you think for yourself. Thumbs up the video, thumbs down the video. Use the comment section to put your 2 cents in. Yes. So hopefully you have an opinion about something that you watch or something that you're part of. And whatever that opinion is, we support it. You have the right to your opinion, man. All right. Okay. So 4:45 to 6 here. Also give a shout out. We're going to use Christy's stuff. I don't know if she's in chat. Whoop, whoop. Again, happy holiday season to everybody. Hopefully you are either you have your notepad out and you're following along and you're taking your notes and you're doing what you're doing, or you are Christmas shopping, wrapping. Here we go. 4:45 in 4 seconds. As you can hear, Murphy is still barking. See that little one? Okay. So something that I think here, love to know your guys' opinions as well, is there's an echo. Okay. So you hear the bark and then there's like, it's like a, like that echo sounding. And so you don't know, was that one bark or was that two? Was that, and where is the dog? Okay. Where is the dog when the barking is happening? The state was very adamant when they put in their probable cause to talk about where the location of this camera was in reference to where Xana's room was, because they curated their perfectly, here you go, this is our probable cause, to say that, hey, Xana's room is 50 feet away from where this camera was. Okay. And I will say it till I'm blue in the face, how I would argue this in court if this evidence was presented. Hey, Willie, baby, shake it, Willie. Hi, Willie. Good to see your damn name. I had to stop dead in my tracks. Yuri passing out memberships. So that was a big part of the probable cause, is like, hey, this camera is right by, this bedroom, and what we're hearing, okay. And so remember, what we're hearing is coming from this bedroom, but yet nothing that we hear inside this house, that where the camera is, like, this is this person's house. This is their camera. We can't hear anything in their own home. All right. And at 2 different times, people are leaving up out of this house, coming back in, and you would then get a good sense of like what it would sound like for people that were actually in the house when they're doing whatever it is that they're doing, especially that like next morning. But Ann Taylor's argument, one of her arguments for like a Frank's, was that it was exculpatory to talk about the fact that the dog is outside and that somebody would have had to bring the dog inside and close the door. If you guys remember Ann Taylor's arguments with the Franks, it was, this is exculpatory in the sense of this, that the dog is barking outside because what you're hearing is outside. You're not hearing stuff that's happening actually inside a house that's closed doors. And I 100% agree with her. I agree that when we're hearing screaming and people are saying that it sounds like it's curling, it sounds like it's, I mean, God, the murders is between 225 and, you know, 3 or 244, 245 and 3 or 350, whatever. My argument though is, and would be to the jury, that everything that you're hearing is not inside the house. It's outside the house. So for example, if somebody is getting, let's say, snatched up and even like pushed into their own home, you're hearing if they're standing outside the balcony, in the backyard, or they're outside the front door, standing out there, whatever it may be. And then you eventually move into the house because they're like, get inside or whatever. You're going to hear like those initial screams or whatever. And then if the door closes, you're not hearing anything else. The reason it would be so important to feed that to the jury is that anytime that you're hearing sounds, it's outside, not inside. It's outside. Because it's so important for the jury to understand that any noises between 4 and 417 that they're hearing, you cannot attribute to inside that home. Okay? Because that absolutely makes zero sense. 0 cents. And it goes with the dog. You're hearing the dog bark, okay? Because the dog, because the slider's open, the dog's outside somewhere, or half outside, half inside, goes from outside to inside. But the dog has that freedom. So why would the dog ever go back upstairs and like lay on a bed? How does that ever come about? And Ann Taylor's over here saying, well, because somebody put the dog inside and then closed the door. And a human would have had to have done that. And that means that everything that Dylan and Bethany are saying, if they didn't do it, who did it? If you want to go with the story that Bethany and Dylan are downstairs in the bedroom after she runs downstairs, closes the door, then who brought the dog in and closed the door? Because if Officer Payne actually did a test that you wanted to see if the dog barks came from outside or inside, he did this test. Okay. That means I don't know if he was the one that was barking or if he got a dog over there to do it. All right. But you're making these noises outside so that you can see what it picks up on the camera. Okay. Like so many tests should have been done with this camera to understand the noises that you're hearing on the camera. You would do like any type of test. Like that, to me, that's just like common sense. All right. I want to hear if a dog barks and that is that echo. If they bark once, if they bark twice, is it then it sounds like it's 4 times? Where was the dog at when you heard it that way? Okay, but then put a dog inside and have a dog barking inside with all the doors closed and see if you can hear it on the camera. Okay. And that would be the only way that you could say, to me, if I was a juror, would that make sense if you tried to present that to me? I think it makes pretty good sense. I think that makes pretty good sense to have a trained dog. I don't care if it's the dog of that breed or not. It's what the sound is. It's the decibels. It's if the doors are closed, okay, and you have a dog that's barking inside, can you hear it on that camera? Then take the dog outside on the patio, barking, and what does it sound like? And from one of Payne's reports, he says that, the dog barks were definitely from outside. Okay. This is absolutely not true. Don't know where you're getting this information that Jack D pulls up to his house, hollers for Murphy, and shuts his car door and leaves. 1,000% not true. Like 1,000,000% not true. Like not true at all. Go back and listen to the Peyton Rossi interview. The Peyton Rossi interview is who took Jack D and a couple other people home, dropped them off right after Kaylee was dropped off. Kaylee and them went to the grub truck. Jack D and them did not. Jack D and his group of friends left a little bit after Kaylee from the bar, but they never stopped at the grub truck. So they get home a little bit around 2, like 1:59, 2 o'clock. Remember, this started at 4:17. Okay, 4:17 and to 4:50. Like right here, it's going to die off. Ann Taylor put on her witness list select people. And there was a guy and a girl that were actually at Jack D's house sleeping. They heard the dog barking. And remember I showed you guys, like, look at that light that came on? Would love to know if that's that room. The when these people were interviewed that actually live at this house, these people here, did you hear anything? Blah, blah, blah. For them to all play like dumb, there's people that you're going to see walk out of this house at 5:15. I'm sorry, they get home at 5:15 right here. Okay. And do you see how they cut out the noise? And I'm going to point out this because this is really important. Okay. This is what I needed. This is what we needed. When this car comes up here and they get out of the car and they close the door, we need to hear what that sounds like. Ann Taylor would need it, and she wouldn't have it that way. She has it when she was given it. It wasn't redacted. Okay. Ann Taylor didn't have anything redacted, but we need to hear what that sounds like. And when people are talking right here and they're getting out of a car, closing doors, like you'd want to hear what that sounds like. Also, the most important part is when Kaylee and Maddie get home, because it's behind that they're getting right there dropped off. You want to hear what the door sounds like when it closes. You want to hear what it sounds like when people are getting out and they're talking or whatever. Okay. Those are the noises that you want to hear. But we're going to go back here. So Ann Taylor is saying that little probable cause that you wrote up, why aren't you talking about the dog barking, 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 barking? You make it seem like the dog bark, the thud happens, and then that's it. Okay, right now around this time, that the guy came home at 4:30 to park his vehicle and go take his dog for a walk. Do you guys also know that he told the police that somebody, because he called back up and to say that, hey, there was somebody tapping on my window. And I think that it was Brian Kober. What? After he went and took his dog for a walk. Like around this time. And it's like, What? But if he was to get on the stand and testify to the fact that you took your dog for a walk, you come back, and then someone's tapping. And now there's another guy that's talking about, yeah, somebody tapped on his window and was saying the name Jesse. And the person that had, it was, I mean, this is just wild. What? People are tapping on people's windows? Beyond ridiculous. Not saying that it's not true, but it's like, that's exculpatory. Because Brian, that car isn't even on. Okay, so I'm going to throw my 2 cents in here, right? How can we determine if the dog is actually outside at the front of the house or the dog is outside at the back of the house? Like these barks here. And nobody. Hear that right there? So the dog's barking. Now listen to this. Right there. Boom. Yep, that's it. Okay. This is the slider, in my opinion, right there. So you hear Murphy for, so it's 4:49. You're going to hear right here bark, bark, sliding the door, and then there's now another bark. Again, listen. That's the sliding of the door. Boom. Got it. Okay. There's another bark then from Murphy. You guys hear that? That was the sliding of the door. So the question is was that the sliding of the door from Kaylee's slider? Okay, or from the slider downstairs? That is no doubt about it. In my opinion, 1000% right after you hear the couple barks, then you hear like that. And that to me is a slider being slid across, like the sliding door. And that means I would be using that in my closing arguments. I'd be arguing to say that at 4:49 and 40 seconds, there's your barks. Right there's your sliding door. And you never hear another bark again. So now for me, this changes everything. Okay. So at 4:49 and 30 seconds, you're going to hear, 2 more barks. And then you're going to hear your sliding glass door close. And that would have had to been done, okay, by a human. Okay, and I think that this is what Ann Taylor was talking about when because she has the evidence, guys. We don't have the evidence, right? You hear a human slid the glass door. So think about this. If I personally believe that the reason could this slider be technically up top? Okay. Let's go back to Dylan. Okay. Let's go back to Dylan. Dylan never understood how, or she makes a weird comment when she says, I don't, how does she say it? I don't know why. She talks about somebody, the way that they would have went out. I don't know why they went out that way. They would have to like go off like a cliff or something to like go out like the back. Okay. And this whole time it would be thought to be that she's talking about the downstairs slider. Okay. And here, if she's actually talking about the upstairs slider, okay, that she closed that, it would be after the killer had left, because the killer went out upstairs through that way, like out that room. And then they left the sliding glass door open when they had left. And then so all the dog barking you're hearing is because, think about this, Murphy is in Kaylee's bedroom the entire time, has no blood. This is I think going to be her argument, is that Murphy has no blood on the dog, right? The dog is found in Kaylee's room. Kaylee's room has a sliding door to the back balcony. And that the killer left out that way. Which would mean that Dylan never saw anything that she claims. Because everything that she's claiming to have seen, Ann Taylor was going to argue and say they were going to, I think, argue that there was more than one perpetrator, okay, and that the sliding glass door upstairs was open, and then it was closed by a human. Dylan mentions the fact that, it was, she talks about Kaylee's curtains being messed up, and then she quickly blames it on, I thought I saw it, like a picture of it. Because she didn't want to tell on herself to say, I know that sliding glass door up there was open because I closed it, or me and Bethany closed it. Okay. So you need to go back to the beginning here of how Ann Taylor was looking at this. Okay. And how I'm looking at it right now is this is how I'm looking at it is that Murphy was in Kaylee's room. Okay. Murphy's barking. When you can start that big, like the jump down that you hear, okay, like that thud, they are so adamant to say that that is from Xana's room. It's not. That jump down, that thud that we're hearing, that is somebody jumping from the balcony. I've always said that somebody jumping from the balcony onto in the backyard, that's the thud you hear because it's technically outside. That's the thud that you're going to hear. And when they jumped, if they jumped onto the couch, whether they jumped and they just jumped down to the pavement. But the most important part of all of this is that it would then make everything that Dylan is saying, okay, wild as hell. Because she didn't see anything because that's not how the killer left. The killer didn't leave. The killer did not make any paths and any moves, but this is why they let Dylan. The police knew that Dylan's statements were just of what she's saying that she saw and all that stuff. How you would make it look is that was all what she saw was way earlier, okay? Because then Bethany's asking her what the hell's going on, okay? And she's describing to her what she saw earlier in the night and texting back and forth and all that shit. But that's Ann's argument when she's like saying the state isn't considering, the state isn't looking at everything as a whole, and they're just picking and choosing what they want to make this probable cause narrative out of, okay? But probable cause, that stupid piece of paper that y'all filled out that should have got all of this tossed, okay? Ann Taylor, in the narrative, she was going to own it. She was going to own them. And I'm telling you why. That sliding glass door right there, leads to Murphy not being able to be heard again barking. And that sliding glass door is not the bottom slider in the kitchen. That sliding glass door, okay, that is, in my opinion, up in Kaylee's room, which makes the most sense because that's where Murphy was. Because it's like, how did Murphy, Murphy was behind the closed door in Kaylee's room. All right. So Kaylee's bringing up Murphy to go back up, to go upstairs, goes in her, closes the door. And then Murphy would then be staying behind the closed door. Murphy has no blood. This is how you'd be arguing it. And the jury's going to get behind and be like, yeah, the dog has no blood because the dog was behind a closed door the whole entire time. And the, everybody that would ever come over to their house, they always came through the back door. Okay. They always use the back sliding glass door as like the front door. All right. That's been said numerous times. But that sliding glass door, I'm talking about that it was open when we got there. Actually, no. Go listen to what Dylan says. Dylan says that she messes it up a couple different times, and she said to, what's her name, Emily, when I heard the sliding glass door close, that's when I made a run for it down into what's her name's room. Well, then she says, I don't know if he walked out that way. I don't know if he closed the door because I just bolted straight down. I didn't go into my bedroom right away. So she has all these different stories, okay, because she can't keep it straight with everything. All right, because a lot had happened. And so then you're trying to create just the one story, but you remember that all the things that you've done, you either want to block those things out because of whatever reason, or you're purposely blocking them out. But Dylan says it, and I think Ann Taylor was going to use that to say that She has no idea if what she saw was real and if what she heard was even real. She's actually just trying to, after the fact, hears everybody dead. Okay. And by Bethany saying that she thought that she heard a firework or a flash, that's Bethany at first believing that her friends would have been shot, because who gets stabbed? Like when somebody like comes in, 9 times out of 10, you see like you're hearing about people shooting people and stuff like that. So I then think that the whole firework, that's coming from Bethany after the fact, talking about that I heard this, this bang, flash, whatever. She's trying to figure out, well, yeah, I did hear this. Maybe that was a gunshot. Because she would have already seen that her roommates are dead. And trying to understand and think about that. Now, Dylan's phone and Bethany's phone would be so important right here, because at 4:49 and 54 seconds, think about this. Now, you want to talk about Apple? For Ann Taylor to be saying what I'm saying right now, if she was to argue it this way, which is how I would go about it, unless I found evidence that says that I can't say that, you would have to, if she in fact ran downstairs to Bethany's room, all right, the dog's continuing to bark, 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 bark. Where the fuck? What the hell? So then she would go back upstairs, a flight of stairs. That could register a flight of stairs. Then she has to go then to the second, which is the third floor, but it would be like another flight. But depending how on Apple has changed their, you know how their stairs are broken up? It's just like you go up like 6 or 7, and then you're going to be on a platform, and then you're going to turn to go back up 6 or 7. In the Chris Watts case, they had kind of stairs like that. And sometimes you'd have to go back and check, but Apple says you have to go up like 10 or 12 stairs, and that's what they give you as like a flight. Okay. So, but regardless, if you're on the bottom level, you're definitely going to get at least one flight in there because of the consistent first set of stairs coming from Bethany's room. So if you went with your phone, which you know damn well you would have went with your phone, you're not going anywhere without your phone at that point. Okay. And the lights are on in the house. Okay. And if you go upstairs to the first main level, which is the second floor technically, and you don't see Murphy there barking, okay, then you go to the third. She's going to have steps at this time on her phone, and she's going to have flights of stairs on her phone. Her coming down, it's not going to register flights of stairs coming down. But if there is a flight of stairs registered at 4:48 to like 4:50, this is this sliding door, and Murphy's never heard from again. And Murphy is just laying on the bed in Kaylee's room. Now, if I don't know if they knocked on the door to where Maddie and Kaylee were, if they tried to open that door, only the police know if that door was truly closed or it was opened when the police got up there to go into Maddie's room. But the argument here is clear as day, is that a human being went upstairs and slid the slider closed. And you can hear it on this camera. Right? Here's your barks. Well, right there's the slider, but hold on. I want to get the barks right. Right there. Slider. Okay, now let's. So the other thing is that Antar's arguing that there's more than one person. And she makes the argument that people were killed simultaneously, like at the same time. Kay Schmidt giving out some memberships. Thank you. Okay. So I have 843 people in here. Do you think that out of the 12 jurors that would have been in that back room and would have heard this argument, okay, that the slider was closed manually and the sliding glass door that was closed was the upstairs glass door, and that thud that you're hearing is somebody from upstairs on the top balcony, because when you start hearing the dog bark like crazy style, right? It's after that 417 of the slider being opened. Now, was the slider opened and that's the initial coming in, or was that the going out? Okay. But that's when you can hear the dog be barking crazy. Now, ready for this? If the dog is barking crazy inside the house, but there's no doors or windows open, right? And until you open actually a door or a window that you can actually then start to hear the dog barking, what that would tell me is that you can't say that the dog wasn't barking before 417. And we also can't say that the dog stopped barking at 450. We just couldn't hear it anymore. But what's very compelling to me, okay, and it should be compelling to everybody, is that immediately after you hear that shh, like that, you no longer hear the dog barking. That's what should be compelling to you, and that you would believe that it's a slider, okay? And what's going to make it more compelling that it would be the upstairs slider is let them say that the downstairs slider door was open, okay? So that means that it couldn't have been that slider that was closed, because you're saying that that one was open, right? So the slider that would have been closed, if you want to go with that the black door was freaking still open, which I don't believe, but it makes no sense that you can't hear anything though anymore. But it does, because the reason you can't hear anything anymore is because this camera doesn't pick up the noises that occur when the windows and doors are closed in somebody else's house. That's how you would be selling it. And I'm not saying selling it because it's not accurate. I'm saying you're selling it that way because that's the truth. You can't hear anything anymore like a dog barking. You think that Murphy just stopped barking? Why was Murphy barking in the first place? So all this time after somebody had left, which was supposedly somebody had left at 417, like jump out, get down, go back to wherever the car is and to, get going. Murphy then barked from 417 until 450. But after that, couldn't hear anything else. So, ready for this part? So Dylan and Bethany, they go and find Murphy, right? Close that slider in her room. In Kaylee's room. We wouldn't be able to hear if they're screaming in that house because they just found the bodies. Okay. We wouldn't be able to hear that. It's really crucial. Because it's going to change everything to do with the time of the deaths. You can't say anymore that thud at 417 and then there was a whimper or this, that, or the other. That didn't come from Xana's room. It came from outside, and it was after the sliding glass door. So then let's take a listen. We're going to have to go find back to like 3:16, or I'm sorry, 4:16 in the morning. And you need to listen to see if you can hear a slider open like shh, right before the 4:17 thud. And you ready for this? How could it be one perp if one perp went out the top sliding glass door from Kaylee's room? Then who went out the sliding glass door that Dylan saw? If you want to stick with Dylan seeing that person, then you're making it that there were two people in that home. If you want to keep Dylan reporting accurately, then whoever Dylan saw, it wasn't the person that was upstairs at 4:17 who opened the slider up there, okay, to then be able to hear the dog barking for all that extended period of time. And this is how I believe Ann Taylor was going to argue it. As we get more and more information, one can only then see what the evidence, like, this is what it is. It is what it is. This is what was out there. And so Ann's team is looking at everything like, okay. And she's having a client tell her, hey, I didn't do this. Okay. Then she brings in a guy right off the bat, Matt Nodal, to go in there and look at the crime scene. And he was going to testify that there was multiple weapons, multiple perps, and a cleanup job. And I think the most compelling evidence right now of that is that the sliding glass door on the bottom was open when they arrived. Okay. But the sliding glass door up top wasn't. But yet that's where the dog was. Okay. That's where the barking was coming from. So who closed that slider up top, and why was that slider ever open? And then if you think about what Dylan said, she never understood why why would they leave out that way? And she's talking about jumping. Like, she's like talking about like this cliff or whatever. Why would you go back out that way? And the reason she's talking like that, that's a car. They have all the pictures as far as they have the pictures for the house as far as the house being torn down. To me, it's just why the house would be so valuable is because of this video with the sounds. That's what would make the house so valuable. Okay. Is that the jury should hear it all on its own to determine if they think that sounds are coming from inside or outside. Okay. And no replication unless they were able to do these tests back then. Okay. But there was no amount of replication. I think the jury should hear that on their own. Because you're not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted, right? It's going to beat the hearsay exception because we're not over here talking about the fact of what these people are saying. That's why I've been trying to tell you guys, stop talking. It's the worst argument ever. You're going to fail every time of what you think somebody is saying. That's not how that would ever work in a courtroom. They are not offering this evidence for truth of the matter asserted, for the truth of what somebody is saying. We are offering it for the fact that there was sounds, that it was not dead silent. There were these sounds, and they were clearly coming from somewhere. Now, the only people that could opine on where they're coming from would be experts. Experts, just like an expert testifying on where the body of Lacey and Connor were put in the water and how they ended up where they ended up because of the waves and blah, blah, blah. An expert. It's the only person that could ever opine on something like that. Okay. Same thing here. Should the jury be able to hear these videos, see them? Absolutely. Because you're not going to be offering them for the truth of the matter asserted. You're going to be offering them for what it picks up, both audio and visual, just to say, hey, there's this movement, especially if it makes something more compelling, which would be ding, 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 the digital evidence. If there's health data that shows Bethany and or Dylan's phones racking up steps and stairs during times that they said that they're sleeping. That's compelling. That's compelling. And nobody is saying that they killed anybody. We're arguing the time of the crime. And guess what? In college, you're allowed to get fucking drunk and you're allowed to get hammered. Okay? Yes, you are allowed. Well, Anna, but they were underage. Yep. And guess what? You're allowed to do that if you get caught drinking underage and you get tickets. You get fines, right? Great. Who cares? That's what's going to happen. They want to ticket them after the fact. Okay? But the argument here has everything to do with the probable cause, had to do with you use Dylan's statements to create, to be able to put of when the crimes happened. Okay. With the car, that was the biggest thing. And what they use is if you think about this, the reason that the girls did not talk about their text messages to the police and actually show them, because the girls knew that they did not make those text messages during and in real time as stuff is happening. It was after the fact, explaining to each other. And that's why it's, about around 4:00, pretty much at 4. And I always said to myself, why are they saying 4? When they would have these texts and be like, listen, I was texting her during this, here, look. No, none of them said that. None of them said that. Why? Because they knew that that's not how it went down. So that's why they didn't say that when the cops were talking to them. It's the cops that change this narrative. And I think that is they made Bethany and they re-victimized them, in my opinion. And I think that that's absolutely insane. Then they immediately left, and when they went to different time zones, when they did their interviews, and then that messed with them again. It's unbelievable. But as you can see, you hear nothing. As soon as that, nothing comes from the house again. And this is really, really important. You can hear how quiet it is. Okay, guys? You can't hear anything that's coming from inside the house that has the camera. And you would be explaining to the jury that all the sounds that you're hearing at any point in time, these people are outside in some capacity. Like, where they're located does not matter, but they're definitely outside. Because this camera is picking up things, the sounds outside, not inside. So anybody that's going to make these arguments that you can hear these screaming and stuff that's going on inside that 1122 King Road house, you are wrong. You are absolutely wrong, because you cannot hear anything that's going on inside the houses. And the police knew that, in my opinion. The police knew it. And so when we're going to be talking about these curling screams and, oh my God, this is somebody getting murdered. Okay. Oh, outside. There's not a speck of blood anywhere outside. Nobody was being attacked outside. What could have happened outside, like they do to each other all the time? All of those places that are behind this house, like the Whites, they have the balconies. If people are going outside to like smoke outside, if people are, walking from one establishment to the other, okay, people are jumping out of like bushes. I mean, these people fuck with each other like that. They try to scare each other, like a jump scare. It happens. That's what they're known. Like, look at all of their social media. That's what they do. Um, so I will not be entertaining any of this. Go listen to this, and this is when the murders are happening. No, sorry. This camera is proving that the only sounds you can hear are from when people are outside this house. Right there at 502. So what you should pay attention to is all these little all which we should be listening to is after the sliding door gets closed. You don't hear Murphy again. Every little sound we should be listening to. Okay. After that happens, in my opinion, that's what's going to be important. And the cops went and got the infotainment centers of specific cars for a reason. For a reason. So let's see. Right here. 46. So 46. So here like that. You hear that echo? Here's going to come the last barks. Right there. Oh my God, look at this. Right there, that light. Okay, right here. Look over here to the left. 4:49 and 31 seconds. Ready? Right there. See that? That happens at the same damn time that this is being dealt with. Slider. You're not gonna hear from a dog anymore. See that over there? And that's gonna be proof of the couple that was like, this dog was going berserk. We woke up. This dog was going berserk over there at Jack D's house. His girlfriend was there too. She said the same thing. Okay, and that's that Braden Jensen kid. Okay. Now, could you argue and say that their headlights from back behind? It coincides perfectly with the kid saying that how he was awake. That light over there, again. And now, according to Dylan, Murphy was like outside, like the barks were going like away. It was like Murphy was moving outside, okay? Yep. You guys know how long that deck is, that balcony is? Now I'm gonna get to something that's kind of disturbing. The balcony that's up top where Kaylee's room is. So trigger warning. You go and you open up her slider to walk out of her bedroom, and that's the main portion of that balcony is like right off, and it's like a little bit bigger, and they take a lot of pictures over there. But then when you go to the left and you walk all the way across, because that balcony goes all the way across. This dog is barking, you guys, because the dog went after the person had left out the slider, out that room, okay, through Kaylee's. Murphy then is able to go and walk all the way along, and guess whose bedroom window is right there? That's Maddie's bedroom window, okay? Maddie's bedroom window. And the dog being able to be up right level, eye level with that window, being able to see in and seeing everything that would be going on. And remember what Steve Gonsalves said, if that dog could talk. Pertinent information that the dog has. Okay. So go check out the way that the back of the house is. And the balcony is not just over by Kaylee's room. It goes all the way across the whole length of the house. And it is my opinion, and how I would be oral arguing this, is that when Dylan's talking about the dog sounding like it's going away, okay, Dylan's bedroom is right below, actually, Maddie's. That's what's right above her is Maddie's. Okay. She's right below Maddie's. and the dog is going along the balcony up there. And that's why it sounds like to us that it's going further away. Okay. Is because the dog is on that balcony up top. And the dog stops barking because we first start hearing the dog bark at 4:17 because that sliding glass door was opened. And it either began at that time, all right, or if they want to say ended at that time, because that's like how they left. Which then brings me to my next topic, which is if you went inside and you went straight upstairs and it was one person and they were just going to be leaving out the top, they had no reason to go downstairs. There is no running into anybody. There is no running into Xana, okay, when she'd been putting her food back in the kitchen. And there's no evidence that the killer was interrupted, as you guys have heard from the numerous interviews that law enforcement has given. There's no evidence that anything was interrupted and then the killer was then, oh my God, I gotta go chase this person down. Okay. So that is also showing that there'd be more than one attacker. Okay. Because the person that was upstairs stayed upstairs, never went downstairs. And we want to talk about this transfer of blood with the murder weapon. For you to be able to say that there was more than one killer, the evidence would have to be able in some way to support that. Meaning, if I use one knife and I stab, let's say, Maddie first, and then I go to Kaylee, and then I go downstairs and I kill like Ethan and then Xana, or Xana, it doesn't matter. There's going to be transfer of the blood in the mixtures of the blood. Okay. So what blood is on or around and mixed with the blood that was on Xana's floor, that was on her body? And my guess, and that's why if you go and look and see what Ann Taylor wanted and what Matt Nodal said he wanted, is he wanted some blood pooling in different areas to be tested, because you want to see what this mixture is. Is it just Ethan and Xana's blood down there in her bedroom? Where's Kaylee's? Where's Maddie's blood? Is it only upstairs? So I think Murphy was on the balcony going back and forth. I think Murphy then, that's the bedroom window of Maddie's where they were. And I think that somebody had to go upstairs and they closed that slider, and the slider that they closed was not the second level slider. Okay. It was the third level slider where it was Kaylee's room. And if the killer or killers came through the back going into the courtyard area to go in through there, that when they opened up that slider remained open, if that's what they want to say. But then you have Dylan talking about wild stuff that she heard the slider close. She waited till the slider closed because that's when she ran downstairs. Like, that's where it gets all kind of messy with that. But somebody closed that slider at 4:49 and some change. A human being. A human being. Um, and if Bethany and Dylan didn't close that slider, right? That they're going to able to be able to show like, because then you can argue this and say, let's say that there's no steps on either one of their phones after 4:45, okay, or after 4:30, whatever. There's no steps, there's no stairs, there's no nothing. Okay. You think that that's worse for the prosecution? Because it is. Because then who closed the door? And then people can argue, well, that just means that they didn't carry their phones up there when they went and looked. And I'm like, no jury's going to believe that. That's fine because you're going to be scared. You're going to have your phone with you, like you carry your phone everywhere. But their testimony is that they didn't go upstairs. Okay, so I want the jury to believe them. Believe them. That's why I don't think Ann Taylor is going to be attacking anybody. Okay, believe them. And the data shows, let's just hypothetically say that the data shows nobody was taking any steps. They weren't walking around with their phones. Then who closed the door at 4:49 and some change? The killer. And that car that y'all want to put that's involved in this case can't be that car. The car is not driving away with the killer. You guys understand that 420 car is irrelevant. It's not. That's not that car speeding away has zero to do. Who closed that door at 4:50? And the jury's going to go back to a room. Like I think I would go back to a room and say, listen, I definitely hear like a little what they're talking about, and why I think that it might be accurate is because we don't hear the dog anymore. And it just goes to like all reasonable doubt. And is this reasonable doubt? And then I would be saying things like, well, just because there's more than one person doesn't like that there could be more than one person, but he could be one of them, right? But they have to prove that. And their theory is that this was one person alone. That's the Commonwealth. Like, and I think that would be, you know, I think that would be maybe a hard sell, depending on what the evidence looks like. And then there's this cleanup, right? There's this cleanup. But when did that happen? You know? So who closed the door at 4:49 and some change? And that's 100% accurate. We really don't know what happened. It's all just our speculation, unfortunately. Yes, but it's also what can the state prove? And the state's told us numerous times over and over and over that we can't prove anything. And the way that we went and obtained probable cause when all of this stuff would start coming out, it's like you just start losing faith in like, you know, so think about this. If you're investigating this case, right, it makes a lot more sense as to why they continue to look into people like Jack D and Jack Showalter and people that could have walked to the scene and people that could have walked away from the scene and people that wouldn't have been in a white Elantra. Because this right here, this is reasons that you would continue to say, like, look at this. You know, if somebody's really investigating this, you'd be like, okay, the dog's barking. Now all of a sudden the dog stops barking. Like, trust me, guys, they have ears like us. They're listening right before that. A detective's like, did you guys hear that? That sounds like a slider. That sounds like a slider. And that would make sense because we can't hear the dog anymore. But the dog wasn't on the second level. The dog was on the third level. The dog was in Kaylee's room. The dog, according to the police, had no blood on him. Um, and so was the dog barking way before 417, but we only started hearing the dog bark at 417 because of the slider being then opened up top. So I think this shows that there's more and more evidence that it would be two people, but that doesn't mean that Brian wasn't one of them. Thoughts. Let's see. I don't see any proof he was there. Yeah, the only thing that they have his DNA is touch DNA. You know, his DNA is on the knife sheet. And I believe that that's on the state to show how that it got there. And they're trying to show how it got there. They're trying to say that he's the one that came in the white car. Okay, that's him, and he shut off his phone, and that's him in the white car. Okay. Well, I have something to confess to you guys right now. I don't know if I was actually watching and doing a investigation and watching this video and going and hey, we got to listen to this dog stops barking. Like what's going on with the dog? Where's the dog at? And then right when I hear what I hear here, I would be saying to myself, okay, that white car is great and everything, but who just closed this door? And what door was it? Because if we're trying to say that the balcony slider to like the second floor was open, then that wasn't the slider that was closed. Understand? Capiche? So that means that the upstairs one was closed, and that's where the dog was located, which makes all the more sense in the world. And the balcony runs all the way across. So who closed that door? And either that would be, if it's not Dylan or Bethany, right? Then it'd be somebody else. And if we think about it, if we go based off of the text messages, is that when everything actually started, she goes downstairs, stays downstairs, and does this all actually begin at 419, 417, and not end at that time? And then you're having the closing of the door at 449. So was it 417 to 449? You hear that right there? Right there. What's that? That's important in my opinion. At 454 and 454 and say 13 seconds. Whatever this is important in my opinion because it's 5 minutes after the slider was closed. Right there. What's that? Sounds like a door to me. People out there are going to be like, that's a gunshot. Don Gates, what's up with love? Ange, you rock too. Thanks for all your hard work. Thank you, Ange. My head is spinning with these 1112 cameras. It's making me change my mind on literally everything. It should. What was that? Right there. Hear that again? Check it out. Right there. Right there. Oh, car door. Look at over here. Look at. Holy shit. Holy shit. This is at the Moyes. Okay. Pay attention over here to your left-hand side. So at 4:54 and 13 seconds. Okay, so here we got 4:54. So ready? Hear that noise. Perfect. Now, I said that's going to be important. Now watch what happens over here on your left-hand side. Right there's the first part of the light because it was the lights, a door. And right there, you see that. See all those lights turning out? It's somebody that was just pulling out of the Moyes parking where they park, and right there, you're gonna see a car coming right there. Holy fucking shit! Hold on though. Look at this. Nobody from the Moyes said they left at 5 a.m. What time did that kid say that he went to BW3s? You guys, that car is 1000% parked at the Moyes house. That's what it. Remember when I was going through the body cams to show you guys the parties that we had? So I went back and looked at all those from the dash cams, and I pointed out and I said, look at what it looks like when a car is backing out of that driveway at the Moyes, how it lights up on these houses and back here. And that's exactly what it just did right there. And so somebody was pulling out from the Moyes, which is right after you hear a minute before somebody gets into that car, we hear a door or some noise at 4:54 and 13 seconds closer to the camera. Okay. It's outside. And this would have been 5 minutes after the dog barking. Okay. At 4:49 and 40, I think it's like 33 seconds. You get the slider, and then so there's no more dog. And then 5 minutes later, you hear that. It's like a door sound, and it's closer to the camera. And then at 4:55 and 10 seconds, that's when you start. So like about 57 seconds later, you're hearing. So my question is if Are you going to sit here and tell me that we can hear a door from the Moyes closing, like leaving one's house at 4:54 and 13 seconds? That we'd be able to hear whoever left and went at 5 a.m. Now remember, the Moyes have a dog. I want to look at this car one more time. Okay, they're moving it backwards. You guys, why is this car going the opposite direction? It seems like it is. It seems like, look at this up here, back where Walenta is. You see that? It's like it's driving in. It's like it's driving in reverse. But anyways, it goes around. Okay, and here it's driving on Taylor, and so when they were interviewed, I don't. I got to go back and check. I mean, I could check right now. Danny Vargas did that interview. Okay, now I want to tell you guys something else. What I thought was interesting. When this guy was interviewed, the guy that lives in the Moyes house, there's like three people that live there: the girl, Tyler, and then this kid. He said that he gave very specific times. He said that the dog started barking and woke me up at 4:17. Shit you not, it's in his, unless Danny Vargas just went ahead and typed it up like that and put 4:17 because she knew the audio. And then the dog stopped barking at 4:45 or 5 o'clock. And then they asked the other roommate if he heard any dog barking noises, and he said no. But I go to sleep and I wear ear plugs in my, in my ears. But the thing that's interesting is that this guy does not say that he then left his house at 5. Hang on one second. I'm going to look and see this report really quick. Danny Vargas wrote this up. MPD. Okay. I'm going to have to search for that. That's super interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be in one of those boxes. We need. This is really key. I know that this one kid went to BW3s. He said to work, and I swear he said it was at 3 o'clock. Though I know for a fact he said it was 3, but I am just adamant on easing. Nobody said they left at 5. I want to make sure though, and if I'm right, this is fucking crazy. That car should have been leaving at 5. When I say 5, it left at 4:55 and 10 seconds. You have to go back there. Okay, so this again, 4:49. Okay, the dog's barking here. 4:48. Sounds like another dog. Hell yeah. Thank you. Slider. Don't hear from the dog again. Now, 5 minutes later, at 4:54 in 13 seconds, we're going to hear like this boom, like a door. 4:54. Here it is, 4:54 in 13 seconds. Listen to this. Right there. Okay. And now 57 seconds later, over here to the left, we're going to see a car. We're going to hear another little like closing of a door sound. But then you're going to see all the lights light up after the car gets turned on. And that's a vehicle leaving the Moyes. And reversing because of the way that the driveway is, you're actually facing Walenta like this. So when you actually turn on the lights and everything, it lights up and would be facing towards these houses here. You just heard it right there was that. And now watch. Right there. See it here again. And you're going to see all the lights light up here. There you go. So now the car's backing out to then now move forward beyond Walenta. And now, there you go. Okay. Now, we're going to go pull up Danny Vargas's report. And it says, here we go. Boom, daddy. Fuck yes. All right, it's report 69, baby. I think it's no wait, hold on. It's not report 69. I wish it was. Its report comes after that. Here it is. Okay. she waited to put this in for a while. Here we go. All right. It's report 130. She waited to January 25th. $2023 to put that one in. And that was stuff that she did on November 17th. On November 17th, Detective Chris Engel with the Pullman Police Department, see November 17th, with the Pullman Police Department provided me with an email with information regarding several Pullman home invasions, including a possible suspect. That was the Jose Cruz stuff. But that's... So why wouldn't Danny Vargas write that up? The reason that she had to write that up here in January 25th of 2023, write up this report, is because Ann Taylor was asking for stuff. On December 13th, then she writes in the same report, on December 13th, 2022, I saw an article online of the recent arrest of somebody. Then on the same report, she's like, around December 15th, I received a phone call from Detective Blank from Blank County Sheriff's Office with information on an abandoned 2016 white Honda Elantra, which was located in, that was the one in Oregon. She just determined that, it has nothing to do with anything. She just made that determination with Blaker. Sergeant Blaker also had received this tip from Detective Blank and spoke with him. Then there was nothing more. Then the same report, on November 15th, I called to get the video surveillance from Linda Lane, the property owner, Kane. And asked about the video. So that's when she includes his whole entire email. Okay, so she uploads that. She waits all this time to talk about that. It's in the same report, remember, or in the same, her written report. Then she says, I forwarded this information to FBI agent Rob Hill on how to access the Linda Lane video. So the FBI had access to the Linda Lane video and footage on November 15th, like I've said. Okay. But this was written way after the fact. Then in the same report, she's like, on November 27th, 2022, I called the Christina Finley, who lives at 787 Indian Hills. I asked Finley if she still had her Nest camera system, and she stated that she did. Finley put me in contact with her husband, Brian Briscoe, and said he could provide me with her available camera footage. And remember, Brandon Briscoe, then November 27th. She's writing all of this in the same report. Then she says, around the end of November, in the beginning of December, Detective Chris Engel, Pullman Police Department, provided me with the following videos from several Pullman businesses, and they were all redacted. But there were 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, 9. On December 2nd, so she just puts around the end of November. The reason that she says around the end of November is because she does not want to give the exact date of that, because it's going to cough up that they knew about Brian Kohlberger before the change in the year. Ding, ding, ding. That's the most important part. And Ann Taylor figured that out. And that they had his name November 25th. They changed the year to expand to the 2016 after they had his name on November 25th, because they expanded November 26th. That's why all of them are writing the reports as around the end of December, around the end of November. Suck it, you fucking liars. On December 2nd, 2022, Detective Chris Engel provided me with the contact information for, so she's, again, all of this is written in one report, not like a bunch of separate reports like it should be on what she did on those days that she should be writing up a report that day. Okay, like, people's lives are on the line, right? Just like doctors' lives. We put our lives in nurses and doctors' hands. Can you imagine if a nurse or a doctor just was like, I'm not going to write up anything to do with your case, your body and what I'm doing here for a month, maybe 2, maybe a year. And therefore, when I have to actually go and like look at that and to figure out, wait, what am I supposed to be doing now? Like, what did we do last time we were here? Wait, I just did a knee replacement. I'm going to do a knee replacement on the same knee that I just did. This is absolutely. And now imagine a bunch of different doctors working on the same patient, okay? And nobody's taking notes. Nobody's writing reports. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. How does one investigate? How does one work on somebody? You can't. You can't. But guess what? It's okay. Because we got the right person. Really? How do we know that? But more importantly, aren't we supposed to go to trial? We can't go to trial. We just have to give people plea deals because this is how we do our work. All right. That's my rant on her. Now let me read this report. This broad, I tell you what. Danny Vargas, you're special. Why is your name always attached to everything that I fucking need? Okay, got it. Boom. It is report 14. So I'm going to pull it up so you guys can see it. Ugh. Report 14. Stay Christmas tree. Don't be doing that. My beautiful Christmas tree. It's right next to me. It's all lit up. Just gives me like the best vibes. All right. Let's take a look at this report. Report 14. Thank you. Danny Vargas in the house. I was listening to some Pump Up Eminem this morning. Look out. All right. Here we go. Take a look at this. Yeah. This is what we're talking about. I'm going to make it big. Super big for everybody. All right. Danny Vargas. What do you got for us? She writes this report on 11/15/2022. Way to go. Why didn't you write any other reports on those days? Like, when you do something. Okay. So on November 14th, this is when she arrives. So she doesn't go to the house on the 13th because she wasn't in town. She goes on the 14th. Okay. Now, she spoke to the following people after going on the 14th. She's like, I went and, canvassed the neighborhood. And she went over to, I spoke with the following people who live at blank Walenta. Well, this is the Moyes, okay? And now I want everybody to remember that the 15th is going to be a really important day, but here's what she does on the 14th. She says she talks to MM, okay? Maddie Moyer is who that could potentially be, or Matthew. Tyler, okay? And then there's this SG guy. SG told me the following. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17 outside, or saw it was 4:17. You guys see this? He woke up, he looked at his clock, saw it was 4:17. Get out of here. Oh my God. 4:17 is the, right when the barking starts and the jump down thud. Is my girl Megan here? Megster. Okay. 4:17. Wow. Okay. Now, so she wrote this up the following day. So it is not like she waited an hour. I mean, not like she waited a month or two or a year. And said that after about 5 minutes of waking up and heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. Okay. So he told me the following. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17 hours, and said after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking. So he woke up, and then he's saying he heard this dog barking 5 minutes after waking up. And the dog was outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. This SG person said that he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 5, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. This SG kid said that his bedroom is on the far northeast side of Walenta and is closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. This guy said that there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it. Okay, ready? Now we can show that he's a damn lie. Oh, because we just proved it here. Okay, we just proved it here. What do we prove? People are like, oh my God, Lana, wait, what? We know you found something, but what is it again? This guy, SG, who lives at the Moyes. Okay, it's not Steve Gonsalves. Okay, all you hating on Steve out there. It's not him. But he is claiming that they have a motion light at their house. And if somebody was to walk along or be over there in that area by his house where his bedroom is situated, he would have seen this light go on. Okay. Well, I'm going to show you that the light actually does go on. The little motion light. Remember, I was telling you guys, I said, look at this little light that goes on. What light is this? Does this look like it's the light that's coming from this person's house, meaning like the one that's on King? No, it's actually reflecting off of the motion light that's coming from this house. Okay. It's really, really important. So now this kid says, oh, I would have seen our motion light go off. He's lying. This is a lie. Because the motion light does go off. More importantly, somebody leaves the house. Somebody leaves the house at 4:55 and 10 seconds. He's saying that right here, this kid said there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it, claiming that it didn't. Because we're talking about somebody on foot. But it did go off because we were watching. It's happening in front of our eyes. This person, this G person, SG, told me that he has lived in this residence since January and has not heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. So they got this person to claim that nobody could possibly be on foot. Now, does he say anywhere in here? Okay, so that's what happens. Now, here we go. Boom! Yes! I knew it! I told you guys it was 3. Fuck yes. Somebody from that house leaves at 5. I next spoke with Matt Moyer. Matthew told me that on the 13th, he woke up around 2:30 and left the house around 3. Matt Moyer said he had an extended training day and it lasted about 12 hours. Holy shit. Blank said that he finished his extended training day around 1806 at Buffalo Wild Wings. And I said, what type of training do you go in at a bar at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, you know what? I'm going to call headquarters of Buffalo Wild Wings over there. It's never made sense to me. Now it's really, really a key. We have a big lie that we just uncovered in real time. Ring the bell. Holy shit. When Lana I am blown to bits right now. I cannot believe this. It was in front of their faces the whole fucking time. Just give me the discovery, please. This is third-party culpability right here. This is who I would be talking about. Okay. Yes, simply me. I've been talking about this alleged training extensively, right? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I owned a bar. Never in my years of owning a bar have I ever said I'm having training at 3 o'clock in the morning until 6 the next day. Are you guys high? Who the fuck? You're going to put that on your manager or your owner? What? That makes absolutely no sense. What you would do, it wouldn't be an extensive training day. What I've done in the past, because if you think about it, don't ever buy a bar, by the way. Your bar is open 24/7, basically. Your bar closes at 2:30 in the morning. Then by the time people close out and clean up and they leave, and you're actually bringing like a cleaning crew then in there, somebody's like literally in your building the whole time. But at the end of the day, I've done it one time where I did inventory and I had an inventory holiday party. Okay. And I paid my staff. Okay. We didn't open until 2 the next day when we did this. But at the end of, I knew my days that were like slower throughout the year. And I had a inventory party and we cleaned and wiped bottles and I counted inventory. That's the only time. Training? I'm not going to train people at 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? And they got paid for it. So they got paid for it. And yeah, anyways. And we played music. I mean, it was fun. We had fun. People were like, that was like the one time that I felt like people were like, are you going to do that again? And I'm thinking, you guys want to wipe bottles down and do inventory? But I know why they want to do it because we did. We had a blast with it. Anyways, totally off topic. Sorry. Back here. This dude says he leaves at 3. We do see a vehicle leaving around that time there. But nobody has talked about the fact that anybody from that house left at 5 a.m. And it was, in fact, it was at 4:55 in 10 seconds, which is 5 minutes after the slider from upstairs was closed. The dog stops barking. Okay. And and then at 4:54, you hear that door. I mean, this is wild. Here it is. This is it. This kid, or I'm sorry, when he talked to Matt Moyer, he told me that on the 13th, he woke up around 2:30 and left the house around 3. He said that he had an extended training day and it lasted about 12 hours. He said that he finished his extended training day around 6 at Buffalo Wild Wings and arrived home around 6:30. Moyer said that he was with approximately 20 blank members and did not notice anyone who should have been there that was not there. And I can't read anywhere in any nobody checked up on this. So did the kid go to Wild Wings that night? Okay, did he go to Wild Wings that night? There is no report that I've ever found where anybody's being interviewed from Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, that's how you would vet that. But now we have to go up to this position. Now we have to go up here, which is if he's trying to say that Matt left at 3, then this kid here is literally claiming in an interview that he looked at his clock, saw it was 4:17. 4:17. That exact time gets used in a probable cause affidavit where there was this thud and this dog bark. This kid happens to say the same time stamp and said that after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. So what woke him up at 4:17 if it wasn't the dog that was barking? How about that, buddy? This is what I put in for a FOIA. We want this interview. This is one of the most important interviews right now in this case. This guy right here, SG, MM. These are the most important. Okay. Most important. This is the house that butts up. This is the house that called in at least 1, if not 2, of the noise complaints. Okay. But the kid right here, this one here, the SG guy. Okay. Now, wasn't there let me continue reading. This kid said that he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, so around 5, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. When does a dog stop barking? Well, 4:49 and 33 seconds. 4:49 and 33 seconds. That slider moves, and the dog. He's trying to say he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of that, at 5. Well, no, the dog wasn't. SG said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of Walenta and is closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. SG said there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it. Why this is important is because what they're basically getting at is if somebody was on foot to leave up that back way on foot, okay, he's saying, oh, if somebody was walking back this way, we have a motion sensor right here. Well, now let's go back to the video because it does go off. And somebody leaves the house at 5 o'clock in the morning who was parked in the Moyer's parking, like where their driveway is. So now I'm going to show you guys. We're going to go back to this video. I mean, this is unbelievable. Call your baby's friends. Call your mom's ex-lover. SG is not Steve Gonsalves. Goddamn. Let's see. Right here. So now we're going to back it all the way up to. Okay, I'm going to go to 449 first. Call your babies lovers. All right, so you're hearing the dog bark, okay? Now, this whole time when I've been saying, look over here, off to the left, or jack these houses. Hear that? Hear how there could be a potential another dog right there? Okay. Now watch. Watch this shit. So see how that's a different bark than what like back here. So it's like further away. Now watch this. Holy shit. Holy shit. Hold on. Oh my God, right there. That's like somebody opening a slider. 449 in 19 seconds. Oh my God. Slider. Slider again. And then the dog stops. Okay, we have to back up just a second. Oh my God. Holy shit, you guys. Please look over here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, ready. Remember when I said I was like, look over here at 449 in 30 seconds? Oh, you guys are going to see the motion light. Come on, ready? Ready right now. 1, 2. Right there. Right there. You see that? That's a fucking motion light. That's a motion light. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was here the whole time. Holy shit. That's a motion light. That means somebody is walking and that motion light is reflecting and hitting on that house. Oh, it's not headlights. That's the motion light. It's not headlights yet. Promise. Because then watch what happens here. Then now go to 5 or 454. We're gonna have another motion. Woo! Oh shit balls. Okay. 554 in 13 seconds. Hear that noise? Now it's going to take 57 seconds. So somebody walking. Hang tight. Here we go. It's going to be at 4:55 and 10 seconds. It's going to be a motion light. And then you're going to see all the headlights and everything. Again, it's going to be at 4:55 and 10 seconds is what I have it at. Right there. Okay, so those ones are the headlights, and then the first one is the right there. What right there? 4:54 and 31 seconds. When does that come on? How long do motion lights usually stay on for? Right there. Hold on, backing up. They can stand from anywhere from what, like, I guess it depends on how long you're standing outside. Oh boy. Right there. Wait a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. Somebody is walking in front of the headlights because it goes from being dim like that. It's like somebody walked around it. You guys see, and then the lights would be back like that. Somebody walked across the front of it. Why would you ever walk across the front of your car once you've gotten in your car? See that? Oh my God. He is about to turn the car on. Right there. And then someone's just sitting right there. Someone's sitting right there from 450 in a car on. Right after the dog is no longer going to bark anymore. At the same time, we have a car that's at the Moyes that is, oh, whew. Still just sitting there. And then, okay, now 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it's going to then move. It's going to then leave. Oh my God. Get out of here. Get out of here. This kid lied. He said that he never said he left his house. Okay, I'm going to go back to the report. Danny Vargas knew to go and talk to him on this day. Why were these people talked to on the 15th? Or I'm sorry, on the 14th? 14th. It's because they had went through this whole camera at that point that they knew to go talk to whoever was at that house and get their stories. Okay? This is insanity. This dude lied his ass off, and I think Ann Taylor knew it. Okay. SG, it is not Steve Gonsalves. You see how not long that last name is? Okay. SG told me the following. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17, and said after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of the 1122 King Road house. G said that he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 5 o'clock in the morning, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. SG said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of Walenta and is the closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. SG said there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed. Well, motherfucker, this is all lies. SG told me that he has lived in this residence since January and has not heard the dog barking outside before. Does not say that the guy then, I decided to leave the house at 4:55 in the morning. Okay. No. And then guess what? I next spoke with MM and he said that he left at 3. Okay. To go to this work. And then I next spoke with TM. TM told me that he did not hear a dog barking at any point. TM said that he had been out at the bars the evening of the 12th and got home around 2:30. T said he sleeps with earplugs in. Told you guys. TM said his sister, MM, who's that's the Maddie. That's the one that went up and did an interview and said that she came up and she's like, my name's Maddie too, but I'm not. And she's like, I'm not drunk, but I'm not drunk. Remember that? MM mentioned she saw Madison Mogan at some point at the corner club. Tyler provided me with his sister's phone number. Dude, they were in the same sorority. Her story doesn't make any sense that Maddie would go up to her and be like, oh, my name's Maddie too. And she's like, yeah, you already told me that. But I'm not drunk. Remember all that crap? You guys, this is fucking crazy. There you go. There you go. Yep, they were outside. Whatever the screams you heard were definitely outside that house, not inside at all. This is absolutely crazy. This is a complete lie. Yeah, I'm telling you that this car, it looked like it was going backwards, but regardless if it's going backwards, forwards, it doesn't matter. At 4:55, a car is leaving there. These people in this house lied. Okay. This car leaves right after the dog stops barking. Now, I believe that there is only one dog that's barking, one, until right there at the end, you can kind of hear it's interesting. Read it again. Who leaves? Who leaves? Read what again? SG. No, he does not leave from the direction of 112 Camp. G said he was going in and out of sleep after an hour. Around 5 o'clock, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. He's not saying that he left at all. Read. I don't need to read. I just read it. After what? Okay, bye. You can go read on your own time. Nobody left that house. Nobody says that they left that house. Okay. This is crazy. This is a lie. Okay. So Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now I want to go back and check the cameras now for this. We're going to back it up. Oopsies. Hold on one second. Actually, we're going to use a completely different video. We're going to go all the way to, um, holy fuck. We're going to go back to the, um, well, actually, no, you know what? We're going to go past and see when that car comes back. Okay, so here this person leaves at 45. Okay, 448. See how it'll end that little scrappy like bark. Right there. Wait a second. That car arrived first. 449 and 36 seconds. The car is arriving because the sound would travel afterwards. Sound carries distance. Okay. Okay, so this isn't somebody turning on a car. This is somebody actually arriving and pulling in. And then watch. And then somebody walks around the lights. Right there. And then they sit and wait there, though, for 5 minutes. a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. What kind of dogs do they have? Or what kind of dog does Matt Moyer have? Does he have a German Shepherd? We need the 3:30 to 4:30 time again. Hold on. Holy shit. Okay. We're going to come back to that. There's a possibility that this dog barking is not Murphy at all. And that the dog that's actually at the Moyes is in the backyard out and not inside. Where's the 4:30 to 4:45 footage? The reason I'm saying that it's strongly that case is because when the barking stops is when that person comes home, or when somebody pulls into that driveway and gets out of the car, and then they're bringing in that dog. And so therefore he's lying about what dog is barking. And it's been his dog the entire time. It was not Murphy's. Changing the time of the crime even then more so, because you're going to be, yeah, I heard that dog barking. It's never barked like that before. Holy fucking shit. Okay, where is the 4:30 to 4:45 footage? Why does it start at 4:45 to 6? Next, though, we're going to go to after this motherfucker leaves. Okay, they're lying at that house. Why would you lie? What are you lying about? Okay, you don't lie. I mean, they were questioned right away because of this video. Because of what this video is showing, somebody pulls in and they sit there for 5 minutes, that same vehicle, but somebody had gotten out of the car. Okay. This is you're talking about cleanup. Okay, so here this person leaves. I want to see if it looks like that somebody walked around those headlights again. Why would you ever go like that? Okay, no. You guys, that car is going it's going the wrong way. it's like in reverse. But let's just say that it's not. Okay, whatever. Now let's pay attention to nobody ever said like so that Eric Grower's car. All right, so 448, 440, so 450. I'm moving this at 10 seconds intervals because all I'm paying attention to is the left hand side, and all we're looking for is any type of light that comes on at the 10 like in that area. Holy shit. Like an older car. Right there. Whispers. Okay, so check this out. This car that's coming, it's going to turn in to drop these people off. Wait. Right there's the car noise. It's a very quiet car. I want to see how they decided to stop this car. They just pause it. They freeze frame. See, we need to hear how those are. I think those are sandals, and I want to hear how those sound when you're dragging your feet, like slides, you know. Okay, well I'm writing Amber right now because all I want to do is hear what it sounds like when that door is closed, when that door's open, when that door closes, and then if you can hear noises when they, I'm not trying, I don't want to know what they're saying. I want to know what it sounds like. Oh, wait. Okay. So then we got, how long are they going to leave it so that there's no noise? Look at right there. Um, you hear that? They what? Okay, guys, listen. They had to redact it all the way until 5:18 and 40 seconds. That tells me that you can hear what they're like. You can still hear them talking right there. You pick a spot to like stop the redaction, and so that you can't hear them anymore. Now, also this kid that was sleeping and he woke up because of the dog, supposedly, right? He then would have realized that, oh, so and so had come home and had gotten dropped off, and it was our dog that was actually barking. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how that would have been easily cleared up. Okay. But that's not the case because that's not what happened. That's, I mean, or he would have said that, like, at the same time the dog stops barking, so and so, just had gotten dropped off. But then somebody waited for 5 minutes in the driveway after dropping them off. That doesn't make any sense. Unless they're sitting there to like catch their next, if they're a Lyft driver. We have to pull Maddie Moyet's interview. SG's, MM's, and TM's interviews. Those are the next voyas. Like, we're adding to that. Okay, let me take a look at. Sorry, I wasn't even looking at what you guys were writing. All right, what do you guys think? This is wild. This is wild. Why they redacted though? It wouldn't have been redacted. I mean, it's being redacted due to the invasion of privacy. Okay, in a trial that would have been shown. Um, but again, we just want to know what the sounds sound like. We want to know. That's how you would gauge, like, okay, this is coming not from inside the house because this is how it sounds like when people are doing whatever in the house. There's I'm trying to see when the next time. Wait. Do you guys see how long and tedious this takes? They didn't organically do anything in their investigation. There's nothing was organically flowing from, sorting things out. No. Holy shit. We got, I can't believe he fucking lied in that report. In that interview. How did they not catch that? I'll print this one again. This is fucking crazy. Oh my God. You know, he has that little truck. One of those guys over there had that little, like, it's like a Ranger, but it's not. It's like a Toyota, like little. You guys know what I'm talking about? What type of trucks they have? And so basically, there was a. God, they just lied about it all. All right. Oh, wow. Wait, what was that? Fuck. 5. Okay, so I rewinded all the way back. 5:28 right here in like 1 second. So I'm gonna pause it. There's something happening, as you can see, right in front of our faces right here. Nobody's doing anything outside right here. So it has to be behind us, or to the left of us, or to the right of us, where it's out of the camera. So at 5:28 in 5 seconds. Why does the whole fucking screen move? See, are these people moving around inside that house? Right there again. Holy shit. Hear that? Oh my god. That's like fucking sliding door. Or it's a window. I don't want to pay attention to it. Holy shit. That sounds like a car. Right there. Who the fuck is this? This is important. All right, well, what's going on Linda Lane at 5:38? About like at 5:33 or 5:35. What's going on at Linda Lane at 5:35? You see it has the top right there, right before I let's see like that. Right there. You can see that has the top light. Okay, let me take a look. What do you guys? What's going on Linda Lane at 5:35? Anybody? I just need to know what the cameras are showing. There's Mark. Mark. What you got for me? 5:38 and 44 seconds eastbound on 1320. Thank you. 5:30. Yep. Okay. So this car is going to go eastbound. What do you have before that? What do you have before? Do you have anything on Linda Lane where this car is coming from? So it's coming from back here, but is it in the back? 5:30 eastbound goes to past Sigma Chi. Ho, goes past Sigma Chi? Okay. That is the brake light. It's on top though. So it's a car that has like the brake light. You can tell from that. You can eliminate some, make some models. 5:28 and 46 seconds westbound from North Blake, turns left onto Linda Lane, pulls in at 1320, same car as 5:21:52. So are you? Okay, so my question then would be, this vehicle that is leaving is no way in shape. It can't be the 521 car though, because it never comes over this way, does it? I just need to know, in Linda Lane, do you have a car leaving there? Because what I'm basically showing here is that this means that this car, if it was never seen on Linda Lane, it wasn't one of those cars that was coming from that lot to like leave right here. So you have some options that it was where it was parked. Anyways, moving on. Unless you're going to work, why the fuck are you leaving at 5:38? Are you one of the hunters that are going hunting? Where were you going hunting at? Why would you be driving past Sigma Chi? You wouldn't be going that way. Anyways. All right. Whoo! Woo! Woo! Murphy didn't get picked up by anybody. Biggest moral of the story here in 2 hours and 40 minutes is that the Moyer house, whoever is living there, the SG person, the MM person, the TM person, what in the actual F? That's all I got to say. What in the actual F was going on over there? Damn. Does anybody know what report? I'm gonna have to go through all this shit. Does anybody know what report Madison Moyer is on? Again, SG told me, and this is the guy that lives at, and he's been living there since January of 2022. Oh my God. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17 a.m., and said after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. SG said he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 5, he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. SG said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of his house there at Walenta and is closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. SG said there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it. SG told me he has lived in his residence since January and has not heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. Daddy. Daddy. Well, SG. Who came to the house at 5 o'clock in the morning at 4:55? Did you notice that? Did you notice either somebody was there to pick somebody up or drop somebody off? Either way, remained in the driveway for 5 minutes. And at the very same time that happened, that this miraculous mystery car vehicle arrives at Walenta, the barking stops. Ow! The barking was never coming from Murphy. Holy shit. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I next spoke with Matthew Moyer. Matthew told me on the 13th, he woke up around 2:30 and left the house around 3. Matt said, he had an extended training day and it lasted about 12 hours, just like Molly, 12 to 18 hours that she worked that day. Matthew said that he finished around 6:30. Matthew said he was with approximately 20 members and did not notice anyone who should have been there that was not there. Matthew did not remember hearing anything in particular when he woke up or left around 2:30 or 3. How do you not know what time you would have left? If you had to be at work at 3, how could you have left at 3? Suck a dick. Moyer did not hear the dog barking. I next spoke with Tyler Moyer. This is the house that always called for noise complaints. Tyler told me he did not hear a dog barking at any point. Tyler said he was out at the bars the evening of the 12th and got home around 2:30. Tyler said he sleeps with his earplugs in. He said that his sister, Maddie, mentioned she saw Madison Mogan at some point at the corner club. Tyler provided me with his sister's phone number. Okay. God, I gotta search for this hose shit. We have to find her stuff before Oh, wait, what was that noise? Ooh. Holy shit. Yeah, that's not the right one. It's Madison's not in that one. She interviews Madison at a different time. Or somebody else interviews Madison. Let me see. She just didn't call her right then and there. I mean, like, why wouldn't that have been? Now I gotta go fucking hunting for this shit. Damn you, Danny Vargas. Fucking up my mojo, always. Oh, and you guys know that Beckett's, whatever his name is, Lyndon Beck, he blows up Hunter's spot. Okay, he has no idea if Hunter's there. I know that Emily was there. I thought they were all watching TV. You know, oh, at around 5. At around 5, he went to sleep. Interesting. Anybody know where the Maddie Moyes interview is? What number? I want to thank everybody for helping us reach our goal today. Time to attack Moscow officials and others. Lord Jones. Whoop, whoop, William, baby. Only thing I think of over time, duck and goes. Ham, let's see, crossing second shift. They work over. He wasn't. There's no. Why the fuck would BW3s do that? I'm actually one of my good friends bartends there. Not the one in Moscow though, so they probably have. So tired. Love learning from you. Oh, thanks, Bridget. Appreciate that. Noonan's body cam shows Kaylee's bedroom door as open. Yeah, Moon. Harry Potter's beard. God, I laugh every time I see that. Sarah Grace Patrick needs your Lana brains. I'll have to Google that later. B. Randy, good morning, everybody. Kay Schmidt. If you turn green because of Kay Schmidt or Yuri, whoever was buying those memberships, this is infuriating. The perks of my memberships are go to the community page. I do a ton of member-only posts where I put out a bunch of crap. William, seasonal salutations to all. Yuri. Okay. Now I'm looking back over here. What do you guys got? Anything from... Oh, great. Another one of those type of cases. God, they just infuriate me. I'm looking for Madison Moyes interview. Okay, Danny Vargas. Peter. Okay, who do we got over here? Not that one. Damn it. Is it report 69? Let's see. She could have got flopped in there. It's not report 69. I want to go back, though, to this report because that's when she interviews Chapin's sister. Hold on, we might got something. We might have gotten something. God bless it. Come on. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh my God. MM. MM's. Holy shit. You know what? Hold on. I have a way of doing this. I think I have a faster way. Yes, that's correct. Now I'm looking for, but I think I have a faster way to find this. Hold on. Let me see this. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. Let's take a look at really quick before we end this. Ooh. Oh, wait. Here we go. House vid G. What's this right here? S last name G. SG house vid. That's about the length of that last name. Fuck you, Atlanta. So we're gonna try that. All right, item number 813. G house video. I think I've actually already asked for that. Okay. TRES. Okay, G. Interview. Nope. G right there. Item 685. G. Date 4/3/2023. 650. Item 228. 2023. Okay, now hang tight with that. That's the one I want. And then this one, 210. Okay. Now let's go and see. Go to February. Holy shit. Okay. February 17th, 2023. On February 16th, 2023, I was notified by Sergeant Blaker that last name an M, but a J, had called requesting follow-up on a tip he provided during the investigation. Sergeant Blaker provided me with the phone number of blank. I called this person with the last name of M, but it's not Moye, it's longer, at that number and spoke to him. The conversation was not recorded. Fucking A, man. M started by saying that he lived at blank in Moscow and had called in a tip early on in the investigation about seeing a vehicle drive by his house at approximately 4:25 to 4:30 on the morning of November 13th, 2022. M told me he was out in front of his house at that time, placing items into his recycling and trash bins. M stated he was wearing a headlamp at the time because it was dark and his front house lights were not on. A headlamp. M stated that there were only one street light in the area, and oh my God. M said that he had been in and out of his house several times. On the last of these times, he told me he heard a vehicle approaching his home from the north, headed towards West Palouse River Drive. M was adamant he could not swear to what type of vehicle he saw. However, he remembered seeing the headlights and taillights. M described the taillights as being teardrop shaped and about waist high. The only thing he remembered about the headlights was that they were lower to the ground than the taillights. M also told me that the vehicle was going faster than usual, but did not seem to be driving erratically or dangerously. Blank told me he had thought at the time the vehicle may have been a dark SUV, but based this only off of the taillight height and the fact that he could not see the vehicle itself due to lighting. I asked if it was common for him to be outside with, at that time and with a head, like a lamp on his head. He stated that he often walked his service dog or took trash out at that time. He said that he had not seen many cars driving at that time since the morning of November 13th. M told me that he spoke to an ISP investigator, probably what the fucking tits bitch, Leslie Lehman, investigator during the investigation, and told the investigator that he thought the vehicle might have been a dark SUV based on the above information. However, this person could not, since has tried to tell the color of the vehicle driving by his house. Blank stated he was contacted by someone from the Kootenai County Public Defender's Office who asked him about the dark SUV he caught on security camera. M told me he did not have any video footage, nor was he certain the vehicle was an SUV or a sedan. Why does Ann's Taylor team think that it was caught on video surveillance camera? Because I can only imagine what Leslie Lehman reported. Jesus. Okay. Where are you? Moyet, I'm coming for you. Oh. Oh my God, that's actually gray. That video with the G, the videos that's actually them finding Kaylee's watch. That exact date was February 10th, 2023. The G videos, G house videos, that item 813, that's gray finding Kaylee's watch. That's what that is. So that's solved. Mystery solved there. What was it a date? Oh, 2/28. All right, let me go back like this. That's America. LM 210. Okay, so that's not him. That's that dude. 124. Let's back up to 124. I think that's when she did that other one. Oh, wait. Wait a second. 124. Damn. Were none of those interviews fucking recorded? Interviews. Right here. 113. And 10. Are you shitting me? Okay, M113. How is that possible? Shit. You gotta be shitting me. Way to go. Way to go. KARRTNWM. Photos. HCMS. No. PRM. Interview 2. M. This was never recorded. Okay. We need to take a look at the state's witness list really quick. State's witness list. Okay. Oh my God. My God. No moyes. No SG. Okay, now we have to look at Ann Taylor's witness list. Okay, so what this means is the state was not planning on calling to the stand any of the Moyes or this SG kid. Okay. Which you would think, hello, you're going to be talking about the fact that you heard this dog barking, okay, and the time frame that it was barking, okay. And now let's go and see Ann's witness list. So if they weren't on the witness list, then Ann would have to put them on the witness list because she says, well, we have the right to reserve. I mean, unless they're going to say at the last minute, they're going to try to bring in this lay witness list, but hold on. Where is it? Okay, here's Ann's. That's the Moyes dog. Okay. So let's go to see if there's an SG on here. Oh my God, Simon Getty! Oh, Daddy, Simon Getty, baby. Giddy up. There it is. Holy shit, Taylor! Woo! SG, who I've been talking about. Ready, SG. Simon Getty told me the following. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17, and said after about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. Simon Getty said he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 5 a.m., he still heard the dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. Simon Getty said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of the house there at Walensa, where the Moyes own, and is closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. Simon Getty said there is a motion light outside of his window and said if it turns on, he would have noticed it. Simon Getty told me he has lived in this residence since January and has not heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. Hold the door. Holy shit. Danny Vargas. I walked around the south side of 1122 King Road. This is on the 14th. Up the hill and along the fence line for that Walenta house. The backyard for that Walenta house backs up to the backyard area of 1122 King Road. I spoke with SG, Simon Getty, at blank Walenta. He was just outside in the backyard. Listen to this. I spoke with Simon Getty at blank Walenta and asked for his permission to look throughout his back area, which he said I could. Getty told me he was a person who previously called dispatch to provide information about what he observed. Wait, what? Oh my God. Hold on. Remember I said we need to find out who called in and said, I have information for you. And it was like recorded. It was like that they had, it was like, and that's when Ryan Snyder went back over to the girl's house next door and thought that it was them who had called in. No, he's not the headlamp guy. He's the guy that lives at Walenta with the Moyes. Insert. I have it. I put out the radio and I was like, you guys, this is why Ryan Snyder went over to the house and was like, hey, did you guys call in and say that? And they're like, huh? And that's when I realized, I was like, oh my God, it wasn't them that said they had information. It was him, in my opinion, right now. Listen, he was just been standing outside watching all this shit on the 14th then too. I mean, who wouldn't have been like, if I'm sorry, if there was a murder right next to my house right there, you better fucking believe I'm all up in that shit. I'm gonna be like, what the hell's going on? And I'll be out there. Okay. But here he said, I spoke with Simon Getty at blank Walenta and asked for his permission to look throughout his backyard area. Which he said I could. I'm shocked that he said, yeah, you can. Only reason I'm saying I'm shocked about that is because it's not his house. It's the Moyes house. Getty told me he was a person who previously called dispatch. He called dispatch. Oh, fuck shit. This is exactly who this kid is. He called dispatch within the first 2 hours. And he says, I spoke with SG at Walenta and asked for his permission to look throughout his backyard area, which he said I could. Getty told me he was a person who previously called dispatch. This interview was on the next morning, on the 14th, about what he observed, not heard. I told Getty after looking over the area and through the residence on King Road, I would come back and get a statement from him. I did not locate anything of interest in. So if you take your time to write up this on 11:15, right? Then she proceeds to say, okay, so I would come back and get a statement from him. I did not locate anything of interest in the back of whatever the address is there at Walenta or on the hillside. That's Vargas. I didn't notice anything. I walked into the 1122 King Road and looked through the house with other investigators. Then she says, then after I did that, that's when I went back to that house. And that's when she had my conversation with him. And this is what's crazy is tell me that it does not say this bitch didn't record any of that shit. God damn it. You're a detective in a murder investigation. Let me see if she has her watch. Oh, she doesn't even fucking fill it out right. It asks you to put in like so it's like a Leslie Lehman type situation. So that's why Simon Getty is on the list. Okay. Because we have a huge problem here. Huge problem here. Simon Getty, either you're not being honest, okay, or you're absolutely delusional. Because let's see if the Moyes are on here. Oh, Tyler. And what was the other one's name? Matthew. There's Tyler. And M's. So she must have got her own info that showed that kid was at BW3's. See? No Matthew Moyer. No Maddie. Oh my God. And they're the ones with all the knives. I mean, that's what they do. They're all in that, ROTC shit. And they had called, now I have to go back and read the third party alternative suspects because it was like, yeah, they lived close to the house. Okay. But neither of them drove that type of a vehicle. And that was like, Anne's like, that vehicle has nothing to do with shit. Oh my God. Jesus. All right, guys. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We're going to talk about all of this again here tonight. So all of you guys that can't join me during the day or that do join me during the day and they're like, okay, what did all of this 3 hours and 27 minutes help us with? A lot. Holy shit. I think a lot. There's a huge problem in the story of the Tyler who just said that he was sleeping with earbuds in. And I think when Ann Taylor is talking about with the third party culpability, that these people were so cooperative and that they did not have, they did not have the type of vehicle, a white Honda Elantra. And it's like, what? This is going to get wild. Okay. So let's, we'll be back tonight. But this dude, he's the one that mentions 417. Simon Getty, 417. Let me tell you what happened. Like, oh my God, 417. There was a dog barking. It wouldn't stop barking until 5 o'clock. And it was coming from that house. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. I believe that dog barking, it stops at the same time that the car comes there at that address, at the Walenta address. I'm going to put a whole timeline. I mean, this is like I said, it's like a peeling back an onion. And what you got to do is you got to just put on a whiteboard. What are possibilities and when you can start ruling stuff out, or can something still stay on the board? And so right now, for me, what's back up on the board is that the dog that's barking. First of all the noise for me is everything that's outside that house or any house in that area. All the noises. Nothing is from inside of anybody's houses. Number one, and that's important. Number two, the dog barking now. If you notice in any of the text messages, none of the girls are talking about the dog barking. Okay. Then here, everyone's saying that it's Murphy that was barking. Where is the dog at when it's barking? And now it's like, is that really truly Murphy barking? Or is it another dog in the area? Why is this guy coming forward literally the next day with this timeline talking about 4:17 to 5 about this dog, and then it just stops? And so much so that he is calling between 12 noon and 2 p.m. And I can promise you this: Ann Taylor's not going to have these people on her witness list if it blows up her spot. Does that make sense? She's not calling these people to the stand if it's going to blow up her spot. And more importantly, now let's go back and look at the witness list for the state and see if these people were on it. The Moyes and I showed you guys that the Moyes were not, and neither was Getty, but I want to double check. That's what we do here. We're just going to double check that. And then it's just so convenient that Vargas just doesn't record that conversation. Okay, here, let me show this one. Hoo-wee. So we have no Getty here, no SG that would have been called to the stand, okay? And then we go to the M's, and you have no Moyes that were going to be called. And here's, you would think that they would be because they're helping your timeline out, right? The dog that was barking, it had to be, why aren't you calling him? Why aren't you calling these people to the stand? Okay. Well, because there's a problem. Wow. Okay, guys. We'll catch everybody on the next one. Thank you guys so much. We had, thank you there on social media. He goes by Simon. No, I could see that because I see there's a lot of typos. Explain this shit. Hoppy, what is up? Hoppy, you guys are so crazy. Donna, hell yeah, Lana. I'm a sticky beak. I be looking for sure. Yeah. SG does Simon Getty fit the redacted blocks. That's what it looks like to me. But it's interesting how she spells it. Again, I can only imagine Ann Taylor is spelling names certain ways, or maybe they like to mess up on police reports all the time. You know, I don't know what's going on here, but we just watched it with our own eyes. What's up, boy? What's up, baby? You know, this is pretty remarkable information. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys tonight. Definitely don't want to miss this one tonight because I'm going to put some more dots together here. This we just did all this in real time. So now my brain's like working and going all these different ways, and we just want to eliminate some stuff or keep stuff in place. So you guys rock. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Woo. Thank you, moderators, subscribers, lurkers.